be getting gray. My mama hair be getting gray as she got older. Right? She was the one. This is why you don't see a wine glass up here, because she is the Holy Grail. She is the one who carried the Holy Seed. This was Scotta. So now this is my mother right here. This is the Vice Lord. See, because you need the two women to confirm him. Needed the two women to confirm him. But out of the father's line, he had to be able to draw King Arthur's sword. My father's name is Arthur. Remember that. Right? But the struggle with the self, the bondages of the 7 chakras being bound by the curse that broke up the family. So then the chain broke on its own. On its own. Right? Accept that. But in the course of my journey, you know, I had to acquire, because it's saying there that I would get the key of life. Endure to the end, and I would receive the key of life. I put the whole family back together. Keep the game. Now, I had this takes me to Putin in Russia, because I had to conquer Thor. And this is my Norse connection for the Norse tribes. My Vikings. That the Moors were the navigators for. That concealed the secret. Jacques de Monnet, that died at the hands of the French, which tied me to Adolf Hitler, who had legitimate grievances against the French when he was attacked. But still, I had to be the black stone. The stone that the builder rejected has to be the chief cornerstone. So I collected that in Chicago. That's Jeff Ford gave me that. Let my people go. Right? I just showed y'all all of the rest of the stuff. Now I got to show you the man with the 7 candlesticks and the 7 stars in his hand, with the gown to his waist, and he's packed in gold, and he's like unto the Son of Man. And this would be this, because I'm in search of the A-tone. That's my clue. This was my clue where to find the A-tone. I had to find the A-tone to bring us all together. Right? The black ones and the white ones. The Hispanic ones and the Asian ones. The tall ones and the short ones. The fat ones and the skinny ones. The smart ones and the dumb ones. The healthy ones and the sick ones. The strong ones and the weak ones. I had to go through all this. I had to put it all on the line. Right? So this is your revelation of Jesus Christ. This is what God gave unto him to show and signify to his faithful servant, me. God wants us to restore family structure. This is what the science is telling me. I still got some receipts to do, because remember, as above, so below. I have to prove to y'all with the receipts of the day that I did everything I said I was going to do. I did everything according to the rules given to me across all disciplines, not just one. So now I have to write the receipt. Right? Now my day started out with a con artist attempting to con me. Okay? Which resulted in a receipt on what you call a 50-50 transfer. Right? Tupac took care of the 40-40 transfer. His seat is seat 40. Mine seat 50. Right? So now, that's Malachi Z. York. That's Malachi Z. York. He brought me the A-tone. And the A-tone is in this right here. This song, which this tape is non-functional at the moment because I don't have a working cassette player. But never fear. As a true general, there's always a way to win the battle. Thanks to my sisters out there, because y'all should stand up soldiers. Now, this right here is the final piece to the puzzle, because remember, Farrakhan said, the one that came to y'all and sounded off the A tone is when all of us will finally have One person that will make everybody the same. No big eyes, no little U's. This is what they talking about. This is what the struggle was all about. So it all got to be explained in the end, right? God, once I got it there to the highest heights of wisdom and met God, God said make a family. God didn't say make a black family, a white family, a Hispanic family. God said make a family. I have to teach y'all how to build families and build them again, just like I had to build this family crest that I did not realize was a family crest until I realized it was a family crest, so to speak. And so there will be no breaking of the blood, right? My mama told me to leave that intact. So that ties all of us together. Putin, stand up, Moscow. Y'all can let them know now. It's all here. Now, what you call esoteric, mostly hermetic doctrine of information, because hermetics primarily deal with genetics. In the genome, it's like a long radio station or radio receiver. Like you got a whole bunch of channels, right? But in order to get to the channel you want, you have to know how to align the DNA. The alignment comes in through aligning it with a zodiacal constellation. So this is the origin of the zodiac. The women figured out a long time ago before they made men that if a woman or a man, back then it was just a masculine energy or a feminine energy came in at a certain time based on the winter solstice, summer solstice, and the two equinoxes. You know when they coming in, and you know what energies you are channeling, right? So you hear him say that the prayers of the mother is answered through the womb. Well, what was your mama praying for when she was gestating you? Because she was programming your DNA. Because they told her she was praying for an outcome in life, they didn't tell her that when you have a child growing in you and you continuously pray or be in a high stated negative emotion, either way, which is ultimate calm or ultimate chaos, that's going to mold your child. Okay. This is part of the sciences that we teach the doulas about when they instructing the mothers to give them back this information that we talking about. So what the mother is doing by bloodline is they literally dialing in the sequence on the genome. And this is when you start getting, it's only so many facial structures. It's 7 specific or key or root facial structures. So it's 7 to the 7th power of 7, right? Which is a 777 genome materialization, which means that each one of them 7s have 7 options to the 7th power of expression, right? So now if people are constantly being born, dying, you recycling or opening up frequency stations. The frequency stations is calibrated from a star system and a specific point in the sky at a specific time of the year. So you bring in somebody under the zodiacal sign of Cancer, born under this bloodline, O positive, O negative, coming from this geography, the Americas, right? Born in this metropolis, Chicago, right? On this day, 10th of November, you dialing in and tuning in the child. And the genome is matching it up like a radio station matches up a frequency. If it doesn't align, that frequency can't express itself in the 3D world because you can't express yourself where you're not at. Right? So in the understanding of how genetics work, right? And like Seven brought up how his father's blind hair skipped him and went to his daughter, right? That's called a heritable cross-family flip from the fatherland to the next motherland. And his daughter's mother is okay in her daughter's DNA to receive the inheritance of the father. They call them daddy's girls. Blue house, right? Mama's girls is red house. That means they straight direct descended down the motherland. They don't give a F about the fatherland's heritable rights over they mama's heritable rights. This is what we fighting these wars is being fought under those two pretenses. Gender heritability is the cause of all war on earth. And the people that's sending everybody to war is not telling them what bloodlines is fighting who. All this is relevant. Barack Obama is a clone of Akhenaten.
I heard that.
Right?
Wow.
Yeah. So the boys from Brazil, everybody thought that the Nazis was cloning Adolf Hitler. They wasn't cloning him. Go back and watch where the Thule Society sent the Nazi regime. And when you see where they sent them primarily two places, the Himalayas, led by Rubens, I think it was. And then they sent them into Egypt. Why? Those are the two oldest temple complexes. And so when they got the information, it gave them the genetic download information and the chemical formula to clone a human being that they wasn't supposed to have. And the first thing they thought that Tupac is Tut, so in order to stop him from ruling, we got to reincarnate his father so he can pull a rank. But we got to program him where he only worked for us. An antichrist. One who's coming to seize the throne that doesn't belong to him from the rightful heir. Right? A usurper. A Jacobite. And then you get to where we at now.
I want to build in right on that because you know, I don't know what's going on here tonight. All I know is we all going. Okay. So check it out in the queue to Corrosion. You got all of these different characters, families, and sometimes you got to be the fly on the wall too, because a lot of these families were literally confronted with, as families even in Syria and everything right now are confronted with, are you with Assad? No, hell no, I ain't with Assad. But was walking the other day with Assad. You see what I mean? Meaning that it comes time for, you know, by threat of life, someone will say, hey, did you believe in this? That's why I say, so some Jews became Christians. A lot of Jews became Christians when it's like, hey, was y'all with him? No, we ain't with him. But then, of course, also to remember that King James set up Jamestown, which was a colony, of course, inside the United States. But that also was infringing on Indian territory. And many of those Indians was why your grandma used to say, hey, some of those Indians don't like us either, because they already knew what was also going on in the end of the dynasty. And that's one of the things that I believe that we all have to make sure that we remember is that when you're seeing something at the end, something, life existence always runs this cycle. It's got to plan to take everybody through the whole process to see how you endure. So if you're only judging things based on the end, you know, that's going to be a little one-sided. It's like not really looking at something when it's new and when it's fresh.
It's an excellent point. It's an excellent point.
Yeah. Yes, and then we've learned a lot, is what I'm saying.
Well, with those pictures you showed, and you showed King James and the Pope, I gotta ask y'all this. So, all right, I could ask 30 different scholars a question about you show King James about Jesus, right? I'll get 30 different answers. They all might have an aspect of truth to them. So there was a quote unquote debate that went viral with Billy Carson and Wes Huff. And one of the I didn't even get around to watching the whole thing, but one of the things that went viral was a discussion on Jesus and the crucifixion. So I want to ask y'all, in terms of the crucifixion and in terms of this mystical, I mean this this character we call Jesus. We keep hearing stories after stories, images after images. One image, he's black. One image, he looks like a white homosexual. Another image, he looks Middle Eastern. I mean, we see all types of images. We hear all types of different accounts and stories. 33 crucified saviors. I mean, I hear all types of different things. What is, according to your historical knowledge, what went down with this? What went down with this event, this crucifixion event, that totally impacted how we live today? Because everybody talks about it constantly. Jesus' name is mentioned constantly. He's one of the most famous people. This name or this energy just completely dominates the globe. So according to what y'all studied, and it could be different, that don't mean both of y'all are wrong, but according to what you have studied, what could you tell me about this? And I know people are going to say it's an allegory. Yeah, it could be an allegory. It could be an allegory, and something could have happened at the same time. What is your account of what went down with Jesus in this crucifixion story?
Rod, if I may, German families come from. If you remove that link, regardless of what happened and how you feel, you will be disconnected. That's just how it works. And so another thing to just add in to be finished, because we were talking about now these paths and these roles that when you come into these matrices, we have now completely discovered that even the tarot in itself is an addition to the original, what you would call original tarot, which is just the calendar or the wheel or the times and the cycles that it takes to move around the sun, and the energy in which comes into the planet during all those times, specifically 52 weeks in a year, right? But then when we have a 78 deck, which they added 26 more cards, you got 26 letters in the English language. I'm showing proof, I'm gonna upload this tomorrow, that they literally add a new program of characters: a devil, a wheel of fortune, a hierophant, a fool, all these characters. Now, true, like I'm not saying like, yo, and this is where the evil is. I'm saying there's more characters in the game now. And so in many ways, when we take into those original numbers and those original roles, that's where we'll find our comfort, because that's who we are. We're in that originality. So that's, I just want to add that. I want to go with that today.
Got you. Excellent.
What's the name of the story that you asked us about?
That I asked you about?
Yeah, that we're talking about right now. What was the name of the story?
Just the Jesus and the crucifixion story. The whole
crucifixion story?
Yeah. Like what went down?
Do you know in Latin, crucifixion is crux and fiction, or fictitio, right? Crux means the center or the key point of something.
Right.
Fiction means it's made up. Let that sink in for a second.
Gotcha.
Crux mean at the center of something. Fiction means something somebody made up. And if they make it up and they tell it as agreed, it's called a story. Right? So they telling you in the name of the story, the validation of its fictional status. They telling you it's false. Right? That's why I wanted to make sure I pointed out that this was a war against the great mother. So when he was reciting it, I wanted him to go over it, put a pin in it. So that would change the whole dynamic. If there was never a J created under King James, we wouldn't be calling him or her Jesus. Because in Greek, I-E-S-O-U-S, Isis, applying the rules of grammar and pronunciation, it says Isis, right? So when you go to the historical narrative, you have something called the acts. What is an act? An act is a part of a play, right? And in a play, you have what's called the key characters. In this case, the key characters, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, are four different perspectives. They can't be looking at the same thing because they're not even given the same genealogy in the two books they give it of this person. That's because they're talking about two people. Because in the one book, they say the child was born and they called it the name Emmanuel, meaning God with us. Why they stop calling him that? Where he go? So when you go to the words in red, you have what's called blatant contradiction of philosophical ideas. That means two people with two different messages is talking in the words in red.
Exactly. Exactly.
What do you mean, Rod? Go to Matthew 10:34. I come not to bring peace, but a sword. I come to set at a variant, mother against daughter, father against son. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Then a little later on, somebody's still talking about, I came to join the family together and bring love into the world and all that. That's not the same person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Or
So
God
now,
is not confusion,
right.
and let us go down and confuse them.
Yep.
And it goes on and on and on like this.
So because ain't nobody study forensic profiling, psychological forensic analysis on their free time. I'm the only idiot that would decide to do that on my free time and get good at it. Right? So now we looking at a story. It's two people. That's this righteous person, but it's two people. And they got two different ways of living with it. One say, pray for your enemies and love thy enemy as thyself. The other one say, go sell off your garments, buy up swords and knives. We about to take these to war. Mm-hmm. Right? So you looking at two different characters, forensically speaking, because they're not telling you the same story or the same idea. But the concealment is put both of their words in red. Mm-hmm. Now, Emmanuel, meaning God with us, that's Herut, because it came from the coming forth by day. All of the epithets of Christ in the Bible are all of the epithets of my mother Isis in the coming forth by day.
Okay.
Right? And some of the epithets apply to Horus. Right? His goal is to go from Kephra to Aten, right? So he going from the rising to the highest peak. This is in the zodiac wheel, you using the tarot cards to walk what's called the fool's journey. It is a blueprint and a roadmap, a yellow brick road to the destination, which is the throne of the Great Mother. And along the way, you have to figure out how to make sure that they can't stop her from receiving her throne as her son. That's the Horus story. Right? Now they showing you the pictures in the church of who they stole the story from. But you don't see it because they don't put that on public display. They display it in the Pope's chambers, the Black Madonna and Child. Right? Original bloodline, firstborn of the earthborn, parthogenic son of the Great Mother. Her forever redeemed.